Well, welcome aboard to today's podcast interview. We've got a very special guest today. This is Wesley Smith with Tree Service Marketing Profits Podcast and the Tree Service Marketing Secrets Facebook group. You may have seen a few episodes before. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube as a replay, go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel. Coming up with all kinds of new podcast interviews with experts, multiple million-dollar tree companies that have been around a long time. They can share their story with you, and other pertinent marketing tips as well for the tree service industry. So we've got a company today, Family Tree Care out of Guilford, Connecticut. And we've got the founding owner, David Slade, and Jake Slade. It's a family business. They're both owners of the company. Welcome aboard, guys. Thanks so much for doing this today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Oh, no problem. Thanks so much for joining and sharing your story. Again, like we were talking about before it started, it just helps a lot of people kind of see that vision of being in the business long term and how they can get to where you guys are at. So tell us a little bit about your business, like where you started, when you started, kind of how that looked. Did you work for another tree company before you started the business, that type of thing?
Yep, yeah, that's exactly right. I was working at Martin Tree and Landscape in Haddam, Connecticut with Greg Martin back in the 1990s after I graduated from college. And I'm a soccer player, still playing soccer. Old man soccer.
Awesome. Hey man, you gotta keep youth going there,
Yeah. I was playing then and I hurt my knee. I had to have my ACL done. And while I was out recovering from that, I heard that my boss was going to fire me when I came back. So I decided to go out on my own, and I convinced the guy I was working with at the time to go out with me, and we went out on our own, started our own business.
Wait, he was gonna fire you because of your knee? I didn't know that part of it.
There was some other weird stuff going on. I don't know really what was in his head, and he never really talked to me about it. So yeah, it was just
but divine intervention, right? It
was enough for me. Yeah,
right.
I mean, we had disagreements before about things. I think if he had been more amenable, I probably would have stayed there. If he'd offered me some. That's cashier
dogs.
Yeah. If you offered me a path forward and to ownership and participation, I probably would have stayed there and worked with him.
Right.
But yeah, he didn't, and yeah, so we went out on our own.
So the rest is history. That's where it started, right? That's just fate, pretty much, right? Like a lot of people want to start their own business, and they've been wanting to do it for a while, but sometimes it just takes that, maybe lack of a better word, catastrophic thing that pops up that happens to create it and spark you to go the opposite direction and start your own business. So you kind of had some tree service experience and all that with the landscaping company. And I guess, did you guys decide just to do kind of tree service when you branched off on your own?
Yeah, that's true. He was a landscape designer and did landscape and trees. And yeah, we just stuck with the trees. And yeah, we got a loan from my mother for 20 grand. We bought an old 350 with a flatbed on it and a chipper, and we built a box on it, and that was our start. That truck and chipper, yeah.
Awesome. So when you did that, take me through those first several months, because a lot of people are at that stage, right? They just started their business. Some people maybe started a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever. And all these tidbits will help. But when you first started, that feeling of probably being proud and everything else, hey, I got my own business, I got my truck, let's get out there and do some jobs. How did you go about acquiring new customers and getting the word of mouth out there? Or did you kind of already have that built up a little bit on the side to begin with?
No. I mean, I did do some work on the side, but no, it was, I mean, back then, it was back in the 90s, it's like it's a world away now, it seems. There was no digital advertising. It was all the yellow pages was the main vehicle, but we didn't go into the yellow page right away. We did a small ad in the local paper. And then another thing we did that was pretty cool, we volunteered to take care of notable trees in Connecticut, and we got publicity that way. We had some articles in the local paper, and that really took us off. Yeah. And then also, of course, taking care of the people that you have and treating them right, being on time, being your word, and those sorts of things, I think, are really
cool. Yeah, and doing that work, that volunteer work, that in itself just kind of promotes your business, right? It gets you out there. if nothing else. I mean, you're going to get out there, people are going to see your trucks, your brand. And then you kind of get in with those folks. They may be able to refer you to other places too. Because a lot of people, when somebody's volunteering, they want to reciprocate and get you some customers too, right? It almost kind of just falls into place that way when you give. That's a great thing that you did there. And then, yeah, like you said, if you don't do great service, then you're not going to get any referrals and grow your business. So that's number one too, I assume. And then from there, when you started getting those customers, were you guys putting out signs or doing anything else, or just doing that one ad that you were talking about?
Oh, that reminds me. No, we didn't have signs back then. That reminds me. One time we were in a neighborhood out in the woods, out in the country, and had an idea to put business cards in mailboxes.
Mm-hmm.
So business cards in, I don't know, 15, 20 different mailboxes. Come to find out that's illegal, and they were returned postman to us with a note saying, "Hey, you can't do this."
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a learning experience. But yeah, I think those are the main two things. And then eventually, I mean, the first few years, just the two of us, and actually, my original partner's father worked with us. He was sort of out of work, so it's just the three of us. And yeah, so we didn't do a lot of advertising. We just sort of, I mean, things were more mellow back then in a way. But yeah, eventually we sat down. My mother had a friend who was a business consultant, and she sat down with us. We made a whole marketing plan, big part of which was getting into the yellow pages, which I sort of had mixed feelings about, but we did it anyways. And we were in there for a long time, and then happy to get rid of that though in the last, I don't know, maybe 7, 10 years ago or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are for bonfires and recycling bins, I guess, at this point these days. But that used to be the thing, right? You get the double page fold out. My dad had a plumbing company for 30 plus years. And that was the big thing with the plumbing niche was, get the double page color ads. Like the bigger companies had those, smaller companies maybe had one page and then maybe like a half a page, dollar bill size pages. Different types of ads. But yeah, that was it. That's where people looked for local services back in the day. That's all they looked at for 40, 50 years, probably. I don't know how long the Yellow Pages was around, but it was around since I got brought up in the 80s, so and that's really what he used to use primarily and get a good bit of business from that. So that used to be local search, right? It was the Yellow Page book. Well, awesome. So that kind of spun off into a little bit more marketing. And as the years kind of grew, you guys, were you still just mainly one crew, or did you guys kind of expand during that time frame?
Yeah, no, we did expand to a few crews, and then the partnership with my original partner fell apart, and things got back down small again, and sort of kept it small from there.
Okay, awesome. And that's through the 90s and getting into the 2000s, I assume, during that period.
That was in the 2000s, yeah, in the 2000s.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about this, because the mindset I know of a lot of business owners, and since you've been through this, you can really, help other business owners kind of with the mindset of any kind of recession or anything like that that could possibly be around the corner, or the one even back in 08 through 2010, like you survived, you went through it, you just, kept going and kept moving forward. I think the important thing is your mental mind state during a period like that, right? And just not watching the news and things like that. So tell me a little bit about, you guys obviously have been around for a long time, and that's a credit to your service and the work that you're doing and everything else. What was that like back then? Like when you went through that 2008 period and maybe 2010 or 11?
Yeah, I think that was around the time we were peaking in our size, and pretty much didn't pay much attention to all that stuff. But you really couldn't miss what Bear Stearns. I remember when Bear Stearns went down, and then the phone went quiet, and then when it did ring, there were people canceling, or people were scared, and nothing was happening. So that was a very scary time, because we had built up. When the bigger you get, the more resources you need on a regular basis.
Sure.
So that was kind of a wake up call to the risks involved. But also, on the other hand, there's always been this tension about work and not having work, or needing to have work. And we've always had work. When things got lean, you go to friends and family way back in the day. I remember But yeah, it's just like as long as you got something on the schedule, you do it, and if not, yeah, find something to do. Um, but yeah, yeah. So and also, I guess I feel kind of lucky we're in the Northeast here in Guilford, Connecticut, and it feels like this area has been around a long time, and it's really durable, and there's a good population, a lot of trees, obviously. So I think location probably is something to do with it too. If you're in a newer developing area and stuff, it may be more boom and bust cycle.
Yeah. Were you able to pick up some good local talent, like helpers and workers and different people for your team during that period? Because maybe they were out of work in another tree company or maybe lost their own small tree company.
Yeah, I'm not remembering exactly. We've had a number of really good guys over the years. And now I feel that conversation about it's hard to find good help has been around forever. And I
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of
sure, sure.
kind of always bristled at that, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
people are out there, I think, but it is true that in this country, especially, people aren't, they're not looking for the jobs that we have or the trade jobs as much as all the other jobs.
So it sounds like you made it through relatively, maybe it wasn't easy, but you had built up a name, you had built up a business, you had a lot of repeat business, a lot of people knew who you were, perhaps maybe some contract work that kept you kind of, steady going and things like that. And so people need to just understand that, yeah, the economy may slow down a little bit, but that doesn't mean everybody in your local area is going to stop buying. There's still people that are going to be doing just fine during any kind of recession. And these are conversations that, pop up occasionally too. And so, I think a lot of people just have to realize that you just keep working hard, keep putting one foot in front of the other, keep marketing. Because if you stop marketing, then, the old saying is if you're not growing, then you're dying, because if you're trying to stay flat, sometimes you'll drop off a little bit. But if you're always pushing it, trying to continue to increase, kind of take you through those types of slowdowns. And again, not everybody's going to be doing bad during a period like that. But I'm glad you shared your wisdom on that, because I mean, a lot of people haven't been through something like that. Maybe somebody started their business 6 or 8 years ago, right? We've been in an upswing bull market since they started the business. So these are just little things that, kind of just pop up during your business career. And it's important to talk about them, you know what I mean? And so other
Yeah.
people, enjoy hearing about that.
Yeah, I think it's really important. I mean, obviously, in the times we're in now, we have that same sort of uncertainty. But I think it's also important to realize that this is an opportunity in these times as well. Is where businesses pivot and innovate and do different things that can really launch businesses to another level. So it is a tough time, and we saw that in the pandemic. I saw that in the
Mhm.
pandemic. There were some restaurants that sort of froze, didn't know what to do, and other restaurants were able to pivot very quickly to take home and that sort of thing, and they did very well, I think. So I think that's really important for people if they're feeling the stress of it, to try and turn that into energy to innovate and do something different and find another way.
Great share. Yeah. And the other thing too, I think to your point of it's always tough to find good help, right? You hear that all the time. I think if you have a reputable tree service company, even the workers, even the people that do the labor, the work, or the people that would want to potentially come join your company, they see that, right? They know who the local professional tree companies are, who are on the up and up, who do the right thing, who treat their employees with respect and care and everything else. So if you're doing that on a daily basis, then you're going to attract those types of good quality people to your business, I think. Is that something that you see too?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And yeah, and you wanna kind of always be doing it. There's somebody working with us now that we found when I was looking at a job and for his mother, and his mother is like, yeah, my son loves climbing trees. I'm like, he loves climbing trees, let me have his number.
Hmm.
But yeah, so they are out there, and I think other outreach programs, especially the school. I think there's a lot of kids in high school who don't have a path forward, don't want to go to college. Would love an opportunity to work outside and work with trees.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Well, getting into some of the marketing things, like what would you say today would be your most profiting or most profitable marketing channel? Or maybe there's a couple that are bringing in the majority of the business.
Well, since we sort of are keeping it small, it hasn't really been an issue. We pivoted. We're working with a web hosting company, and they keep our site optimized. And we're going to do some Google ads next year. But I think the main marketing that we have is the work that we do and the impression that we leave on people.
So mostly referrals, word of mouth, nothing wrong with that. Those are the best referrals, the best source of business you can get right there.
Yeah, yeah. And we've also over the years really sort of honed down an area too to try and tighten up our area. And so I think that helps a lot too. We're in the same area a lot of the time. We got all the trucks lettered up too. That's a big thing too,
Yes.
for all those impressions. And then we also have two Mini Coopers.
Okay.
They're lettered up with a logo and kind of a funky style that's unmissable. So that's yeah. So every day making impressions in the community
Well,
that
those
way.
things are definitely a little more fuel efficient, probably for appointments and estimates, right?
Definitely now that when fuel prices spike, are happy to drive that little vehicle. Yeah.
Yeah, and people love them too. They're like, "Oh my God, I've never seen a tree guy in a Mini Cooper before."
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. That's what we tell people all the time. Branding is just important as the marketing. I mean, it's a spinoff. It's almost the same. They kind of go together, but the
Yeah.
more trucks you have wrapped, if you put out signs with your logos, do direct mail, do your internet marketing, like you guys, Google, you got your website, people are finding your Google website, your map. All of these things are impressions. And so the more often people continue to see you, the more often they're going to remember to call you, right? So it's like if you just have the white trucks or the yellow trucks and there's no lettering and no branding, you're missing out on all those eyeballs seeing the same thing over and over and over again. And then they don't even really think about it. They just know what tree company they're going to call the next time they're going to call a tree company. So that goes a long way, especially if you're going to be in the business a long time. It really helps accelerate your lead flow down the road too. But that's awesome. So are you guys doing any kind of like email marketing or anything like that to your customers?
No, we haven't. We've collected emails for a while now. We have a bunch. Actually, Marley, my daughter Jake's sister, was talking about doing an email campaign. She's looking for some work. So
Yeah, those work real
I've
well
always,
too.
I've
Mhm.
always been kind of wary about that, just because I don't like getting a lot of emails um, and also I want it to be valuable. I want it to have valuable information. I guess I just haven't. Yeah.
Sure. Oh yeah, I got you. Well, this is awesome. So what would like currently you guys have what, maybe two crews that you're running in the business, or is it one main crew, or how do you guys look?
Yeah.
One main crew, okay. And
Yeah.
then just staying busy, staying efficient. Everybody knows their role and gets out there and gets the work done. You guys still booked out pretty heavy right now?
Yeah. Yeah. We got a couple months of work.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Well, being up in the north, some of the people are regional. People listen to this all over the country, all over the world. Actually, we got listeners in different countries too. But being in a colder climate, do you guys still try to just keep busy even during December, January timeframe too, February?
Yeah. Yeah. We work right through the winter. Actually, I think last winter was like one of the two winters since we started this business that it was busy all winter.
Wow, that's great.
Kind of new. The climate's changing. And, yeah, more work.
COVID a little bit, I think. Yeah, there's a lot of work stacked up from everyone getting their stimulus money and then being in their backyard and all the time.
Mhm.
Really built up the last few years, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, what we saw too with a lot of our clients is like as soon as COVID hit, it was like boom, everybody just kind of was just deer in headlights for a month or so, right? And then as soon as they lifted the restrictions on what you could and couldn't do, and then tree service became an essential service, everybody was busier than they've ever been in their career, I think, for about 6-8 months there in 2020. And then 2021, it kind of followed up there. And then this year they've been pretty busy too. They have an established business. They've been really, really busy this year.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's awesome. So you guys are using social media and things like that in your business?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Jake is a Instagram rock star.
Awesome.
Addict, maybe addict.
I don't use any of that stuff. I'm not gonna look at it, but
Yeah, I post on Instagram a good bit and then just like double post it to Facebook. Usually I don't do Facebook too very much.
Cool. Well, awesome. So you got a family business. What do you say to like let's say like an owner of a tree service business who maybe just started or is kind of hoping that their business makes it and they want to make sure that they plant those right seeds and keep moving forward, like just words of encouragement, because you've been there, right? Like you started your company 25 plus years ago, probably been through a couple of slowdowns in the economy, made it through just fine. What would you say to those people maybe that just started their business and kind of just looking for direction, making sure they're doing the right thing?
Wow, that's a great question. Now, how do you know you're doing the right thing?
Mhm.
Well, one thing we were talking about marketing, I think consistency. Having using the same recognizable brand. It's branding what you're talking about, but yeah, we have the same colors and the same. I mean, it's changed a little bit here and there, but not materially. So you can still recognize the marketing that we're doing now from 25 years ago in a way. So I think that's really important, is to have a consistent, connection with your company, visual or marketing connected with your company.
Awesome. Yeah. And
Uh,
just
yeah,
keep going. No, sorry.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, it's a tough question. Business is funny. I think, because when it's good, you're rocking and
Hmm.
rolling, and when it's bad, and everything seems to be going wrong, and you wonder what the hell you're doing. So I think being prepared for the ups and downs, having resources, um, a mentor, somebody you can go to talk about things is really important. And also, talk you down from the ledge if there's other business owners, um, being having friendships with them and talking, sharing about businesses. I think that's really important because it gets overwhelming at times. You get overwhelmed, and so to have somebody to reach out to or to have other places you can go to get answers or talk about stuff is really helpful, I think.
That's awesome. That's the exact reason I do this podcast, right? It's like people want to hang out and around people that are doing the same business that they're doing, and just hearing other people's stories helps them. If for nothing else, they know if I continue to work hard, stay consistent, stay positive, I'm going to make it, and the old saying, the harder you work, the luckier you get, really plays a factor in everybody's business, right? I mean, as an agency, we have ups and downs in our business too, right? So it's like, you just have to keep moving forward, keep working at it, and keep going. But yeah, so I think staying consistent with the marketing side, just in doing that stuff. Would you say like joining the associations like the TCIA or the ISA and all that stuff? That's important, right, for business connections and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great resource too. Yeah, we have a Connecticut Tree Protective Association in Connecticut too, which is an awesome resource. And yeah, they have climbing competitions. Jake's Connecticut state champion this year.
Uh-oh, we got a state champ in the house.
He won it all. Yep, yeah. Um,
Awesome.
but yeah, the associations are really valuable. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we'll be there in November, coming up in a couple of weeks. We got a booth there, and we usually see a lot of clients there. You guys going to be up there?
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll come
Cool.
by.
Awesome. You ought to stop by. We got a booth over there next to the climbing championship thing over there, or the
Oh, no.
demonstration area. So that'll be fun. Well, guys, I really appreciate you sharing today. I think a lot of nuggets of wisdom there. Anytime you can hear from a business owner that's been out there 25 years, it just shows you that anything's doable. You can continue to grow your business. You can stay in business. You can survive any kind of ups and downs in the economy. Just because there's a recession doesn't mean you have to just, duck your head and crawl in a hole and wait it out, right? You still just keep working. You put yourself out there, because there's going to be people that need tree services pretty much year round, every year, no matter what. So just a matter of just staying positive, I think, having the mental mindset.
Yep. And resilient.
The resiliency, that's right. Thick skin, resiliency, and just and like you said, I think just having somebody to talk to, like maybe a mentor, or even just being a part of like these associations where you have access to other business owners, and best practices and things like that. I always encourage everybody to join those types of things, or get people to talk to, because it really helps just be able to share ideas and stuff. Well, did you have any parting words or anything else that you want to share about maybe where Family Tree Care is going or anything like that?
Straight to heaven, baby.
There you go. Jake is so we're working.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate you for doing this and for talking to us. So
no, I appreciate you guys joining. You guys are just sharing your wisdom and your business story. So I really thank you for coming on. It's sometimes difficult to do. You're busy, so I appreciate your time doing it too. Well, that's it for today's episode, guys. Again, this was Family Tree Care in Connecticut. Owners David and Jake Slade. And until next episode, we'll see you then. Thanks so much.